Real quick before we get started, we got something really cool we want to tell you about. Magic the Gathering artist Richard Kane Ferguson has a playmat and token collection that just launched over on Kickstarter, and there's so much available, including signed and stitched playmats, a variety pack of 30 tokens that covers all the bases you'll need, and much more. The campaign features art from Ferguson's work on Magic cards like Arcane Denial, as well as art from Ferguson's graphic novel, The Lost Book of Kings, all in his super iconic art style. The campaign ends on July 10th, so use our link in the description below to check out the Richard Kane Ferguson playmat and token collection before it's too late. Now let's get into the podcast.
I feel like my camera needs to go up a little bit. Like if I sit up, I'm touching the top. You know what I mean? Like I have to slouch to be good, but if I sit up at all, I'm too tall.
Can you lower your seat?
I could, but then I won't be at the right level because then you start looking down at me.
Oh, I start looking down. I don't want to be looking down on you. Yeah. I flipped it back. I don't know why I did that.
God, is that going to be too much now? It's so hard to judge.
I've never had jury duty before, but I feel like I'd probably say that on jury duty.
This podcast is brought to you in part by Dragon Shield. Use code PLAYTOWIN5 with the link down below for 5% off to help support the show.
Well, welcome to the Play to Win podcast, where we talk about winning in cEDH. I'm Cam.
And I'm Dylan. This week we're talking about black cards in cEDH. We're going to talk about the best ones. We're going to talk about why they're good, what black offers to cEDH, the whole kitten and caboodle.
It's kitten and caboodle? I thought it was kit and caboodle.
I thought it was the kitten and the caboodle.
Oh, like, what is a caboodle then? Like,
now that you're saying that, I don't know. The caboodle's got to be like a poodle.
A caboodle and a poodle.
It's a kitten and a poodle mix. It's a mix between a kitten and a poodle.
So you have a kitten and a kitten poodle.
Yeah, a caboodle. A kitten
caboodle.
Poodle. Yeah, it's like what are the poodle labs, the labradoodles?
Oh yeah,
it's like that, except it's a kitten doodle.
Why wouldn't they call it a kitten poo? Because I feel like a lot of the poodle mixes have poos on the end. A cockapoo.
They could have. They just didn't. Labradoodle doesn't. It's not a labrapoo. It's a labradoodle. This is a kitten poo.
That's a Labrador and a doodle, though.
A poodle.
A poodle isn't a doodle.
Yes, it is. A doodle isn't a real thing. A doodle is a drawing.
Well, neither's a caboodle, though, either. So.
It is now. I made it. I said it, and then now it's real.
And now it's real. Yeah.
It's become real now.
And this is what it looks like. Wow, what a cubby bird.
All right, what do you got? What are we talking about first on the list? Should we talk about what black offers on the whole? Or you want to start with a card? How do you want to begin this?
We should talk about what black offers as a whole to kind of give us an idea as to what we will be talking about and the kinds of things that we're going to be talking about today.
We mentioned this a little bit in the Red and Green podcast, but what black kind of offers is the best versions of most of the things that Red and Green offers in a weird way. So it offers really the best tutors in the format, but only a couple of them, and the best rituals in the format, but only a couple of them. And it also gives you access to the best win conditions in the format.
I put them as card draw because if we were nitpicking over if Underworld Breach was a win condition or something last week, and we ended up saying a lot of like, well, it's a win condition, but you need something else to facilitate the win too. And I feel like a lot of the cards that fit under these black win conditions are cards that still need something else to officially win. They're these win facilitators, which get you all the cards that you need to win the game, which is a win the game.
Yeah, paying life to draw cards, like you're mentioning, is like the other main thing that black has to offer. But black also does offer literal win conditions, or at least part of it with the Mana Consultation and Tainted Pact. Yeah, those are part of a win condition.
It's like 50% of something, and we're like kind of half judging those because some of them are they're win conditions. They're used as win conditions, but they also have upside in other scenarios too, which makes them way different than like also last week when we were talking about Squee and stuff like that too.
Yeah, big jump from those cards. Should we start with rituals, tutors, or paying life to draw cards? Those are the main three categories I imagine most of these cards will fall into today, right?
Well, I feel like we should talk about mana first because I feel like this is the smallest category because I really only have two cards that...
Are you recording, right?
Yes, I am. I am recording. Let me double check. I'm going to go like 3 months with like having the butts of jokes.
You were mentioning something of rituals.
Yeah, there's really only like two rituals that I think are super critically acclaimed in cEDH.
Okay, sure.
There's a couple other ones that there are out there, but they're not really like seeing a lot of play. Like Song of the Damned is something you could...
I wish. Yeah, I wish. Yeah, dude, such a cool card.
Yeah, but the two main rituals that I think you'll see come up most are going to be Dark Ritual and Cabal Ritual.
Yes, yeah. Dark Ritual, the original 1 black instant to make 3, 1 to +2 mana is like an unheard of rate kind of. Really, just Dark Ritual and Mana Vault are the only cards that do that.
At the same consistency all the time. And this one being an instant speed option, I think also like busts this open. Same with Cabal Ritual as well. Also being instant speed just makes it so much more flexible than a lot of the other mana makers that are similar to this, other rituals.
Yeah, Cabal Ritual kind of has the downside of costing 2 to make 3, which is obviously worse than Dark Ritual, but the upside of if you have Threshold, 7 cards in your graveyard, it makes 5 mana, which 2 to make 5 is also an unheard of rate and extremely powerful, right?
It really is.
And that's kind of easy to do in most of the decks that can play this card. Like 7 cards in the graveyard is pretty easy.
You just play the game of Magic and you can get a lot of cards in your graveyard with like fetch lands or counter spells that you've done, or if you just like crack Lion's Eye Diamond and you're already Underworld breaching, it just is a really nice way to make sure you can keep going off consistently. These are great cards with that new card from the Strixhaven set that we haven't talked about since the set review so much.
A black card?
No, it's a blue card.
Interesting even more. Blue card that benefits from a lot of black mana.
Yeah, because if you have Underworld Breach out, it's like your Brain Freeze.
The little wizard.
The little wizard,
He's maybe a djinn or something. Yeah, what is his name? Tide for something with a forbidden tide.
It's not forbidden.
It's not forbidden at all, but I want to say there's an F somewhere in the name.
Because it's called, I can't fucking remember the name of this card.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. Goes infinite with Breach and Dark Ritual, right?
Which is another good reason to play these cards in your deck. Not that you needed more reasons to, but they also turn on every other card that we're going to be talking about today.
They work really well with other black cards as well, specifically like Dark Ritual being able to cast Necropotence is part of the appeal. The fact that Cabal Ritual on its own, if Threshold is on, that casts Ad Nauseam right there. That's the 5 black that you need.
It does everything that you already want to be doing in the colors.
Right. Yeah. It's not just that it makes the mana. Making the black mana is very important because a lot of black cards are heavy black pips. So you need those specific black mana pips.
Other than that, like you could play Rain of Filth if your deck can facilitate it.
Which I love. Rain of Filth is such a powerful ritual.
Very cool. I don't know if it's going to be top 10 worthy.
Maybe not. It has to kind of go in a turbo deck, I think, because you have to be willing to sacrifice your lands. You have to be willing to go all in, and that's super strong. But in Rogside, when you're winning on turn 2, a second Rite of Flame, 1 to make 2 mana and sack your 2 lands, that's an incredible rate. Not only that, it feeds your Underworld Breach by putting a bunch of extra lands in the graveyard that you can use to escape things with Underworld Breach. And also in the late game, if you do make it to turn 5, when Rain of Filth can for 1 mana make you 5 mana by sacking your 5 lands, that's really fucking good, right?
It gets insane at that point then,
so I think it scales really well. You just have to be willing to like play it safely. Like play it when you know I'm either winning the game now or I lose the game, and it doesn't matter if I sacrifice my lands because I lose the game if I don't get it here either way,
I
right?
know, it's kind of ironic to say play it safely and then Armageddon yourself.
Right, yeah.
But, if you can set up a scenario where, again, like you have Grand Abolisher in play because you're in like a faster blue farm deck, or
you're going to lose the game if you pass the turn anyway. You're in a spot where like, well, if I don't do it here, I'm just dead. So it doesn't matter if my lands are gone or not, because if I get stopped, then I'm out of the game either way because the next person's going to win.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Calling the Weak is another one we haven't mentioned yet.
God, I forgot about Calling the Weak.
Incredibly powerful. And I think on a similar rate to Cabal Ritual, except you need the investment ahead of time in the creature. In Roxai in particular, that investment is nothing, so that's really nice. But in other decks, you have to already spend 1, 2, 3 mana on your commander or a creature or something. So you invest the mana ahead of time and then you get the mana back later.
But you're also like, whatever that thing that you had in play was also getting you advantage for however long it was in play. Like Blue Farm still likes Calling Ritual because if you sacrifice your Tymna, it probably drew you 2 turns worth of cards before you got to the point where you sacrificed Tymna and just won the game right there.
Right, yeah. If you're winning the game, it doesn't matter what you get rid of. And like a lot of these black cards do, they facilitate putting things into your graveyard. So if I can sacrifice my Rograk, put it into the graveyard, and now escape something else from a graveyard with the Underworld Breach by exiling the Rograk from my graveyard, that's really good.
And even if you're not in Grixis, sometimes sacrificing a creature that you can't have in play anymore is really good. Like Esper Sentinel has this really stupid downside if you're trying to win with Thassa's Oracle, where people can force you to draw a card and you have nothing that you can do about it. So if you are able to sacrifice it before you go and actually win the game, then that way you can play it even more safe.
And there's even weird things like Protean Hulk, which is not a particularly meta threat right now, but it does pop up from time to time. If you're playing Hulk, Calling the Weak, Calling the Ritual, is a great way to get rid of your Hulk and sacrifice it because it's part of the cost. That's also important.
No, it is Calling the Weak.
Did I change it? Did I change it back the wrong way?
I thought you did, yeah.
I thought I didn't. I thought I changed it to Calling the Weak. But I meant Calling the Weak, the 1 black mana, sacrifice a creature to make 4 black mana. It's important that it is part of the cost. So if you need to kill your own thing, it's dying. If they counter the Culling the Ritual, Culling the Weak, fuck, why did they do that? Why did they make the card named Culling Ritual when there's already a ritual named Culling? That's so frustrating.
I know,
but
right?
It's part of the cost. So if they try to counter the thing, if you want your guy dead, it's already dead.
Exactly, yeah. They're really not incentivized to counter you're Culling the Ritual then either.
Culling the Weak.
They're both the same card. I really wish that they make a card now called Culling the Ritual.
Culling the Ritual? Oh, I was thinking Ritual the Week or something, what they would have
Ritual,
to do, right?
Two different cards.
Yeah.
They're two different cards that we have to get
difficult
now.
as possible
Yeah.
for us, yeah. I would rate these cards, Dark Ritual is, so out of these four that we just talked about, these like playable rituals, Dark Ritual is the best. I would say Cabal Ritual is probably second, just because I think maybe it goes in a little bit more decks. I personally, in Rog side, I like Culling the Weak more, but I think that is a Rog specific take. I think on the whole, Cabal Ritual might be a little bit better, and then Reign of Filth below that because you need something even more specific.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you on all of those accounts,
Right.
I think. Yeah, when the ceiling of Culling Ritual is extremely high because it does feel like...
Culling the Weak.
What did I say? Culling the Ritual again?
Yeah, Culling Ritual.
Oh, my God. I don't want to talk about this card anymore.
Yeah, let's move past
We're
it.
going to move past it, and we're instead going to talk about, I guess, a whole new category of cards.
Right, there's no other real rituals that are black that see play. There is Culling Ritual, which is a green and black card. Outside of that, black doesn't have any others. It just really has the four that see play in cEDH, right?
It's interesting because although all of the things that black does are very strong, like these three things that it does are very strong, every single pool, one of these three pools, is incredibly shallow. Like, I actually had a weirdly hard time finding, like, more than 10 of the best black cards in the format for us to talk about. Like, obviously, like, we could talk about Delirium, Diabolic Intent.
Nope. Diabolic Intent is another two that we should talk about, but Diabolic Intent is sacrifice a creature to search your library.
I'm getting ahead of myself. Yeah, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself with what I'm
Demonic
saying.
Council is the tutor that you have to have Delirium on.
Like, we could, but there's like also like one deck that is considering Demonic Council. But I guess that's where we're gonna go now is the tutors.
The tutors is the next category,
I'm all
I think.
over the fucking place. Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, it is shallow though. You're right. I feel like black cards many years ago were extremely powerful, very, very strong. Most of the cards we're talking about came out in alpha and beta, and like some of the few sets that came out in the next 5 to 10 years from that. And then recently they've tapered off, at least in Eternal formats, what black has access to. It's still a good color. I'm not saying that it's not, but it hasn't gotten the same juice that it did once it first started, and especially in cEDH. The 40 life total thing changes things dramatically because a long time ago, more things were used to pay life, and now we have 40 rather than 20 in this format, so it's a little bit different. But yeah, let's get to tutors next.
Let's get to tutors, yeah. So the tutor that we should talk about first is Demonic Tutor.
The creme de la creme.
Cream of the crop.
Yeah,
that's a different card.
This is the best tutor in the format. It's the cheapest one with no downside. It's 2 mana, period. Search your library for any card, put it right into your hand.
This is the best card we've talked about so far, right?
Of course, it's the best card we talk about, probably the best black card that exists. It's kind of strange because all it does is just find whatever you want, but having 2 mana to get whatever you want is just a good rate.
And in a singleton format where we only have access to one of every card, having a second copy of it at such a great rate that just puts it directly into your hand. Some of the other tutors in the format don't let you do that. Like we talked about Worldly Tutor last week. We talked about Enlightened Tutor. No, we didn't.
Not yet, but we're going to talk about Vampiric Tutor and Imperial Seal. Every other tutor has some kind of downside. You know what I mean? Whether the downside being you have to pay 3 life and 3 total mana with Grim Tutor, or Diabolic Tutor, which is 4 total mana, or some of the other ones that actually see cEDH play. A downside can be it costs 4 mana. Demonic Tutor is the best rate, but there are a couple other ones that are still like just about as good.
Yeah, I agree. You already mentioned Vampiric Tutor and Imperial Seal. I think go hand in hand with this because it's so easy to draw cards in cEDH. With your Heuristic Study trigger on the stack, you can still get your Vampiric Tutor card in your hand. I mean, it's a little bit scary. Maybe someone is more inclined to pay for Heuristic Study there, but it still is an option that you have. Tymna decks have the option to Imperial Seal on their first main, attack with Tymna, and then get the card right away.
Right, yeah. Imperial Recruiter, all these cards are so similar named. Imperial Seal and Vampiric Tutor are both very similar. Imperial Seal is obviously worse because it's just a sorcery, and you do have to be aware of Ragavan. If there's a Ragavan on board, don't fucking sorcery speed, tutor for a card on top, and then pass your turn, right? But the Vampiric Tutor I specifically like in turbo decks a lot because it can make you look not so threatening. Because you can do land pass on your first turn, hold up Vampiric Tutor, and then you can have Ad Nauseam in your hand, and you search for Culling the Weak, and then you play land, Culling the Weak, and you have 5 black mana for Ad Nauseam right away. Very simply off of just a few cards. that can be very good, and you don't really look like a threat on your first turn, which is
I
nice.
also really like that when you can do that on your upkeep then too, and then you don't even have to like give the illusion that you could still have something as well. Like
Sure,
you can play your Surveil land on turn 1, and then on your upkeep that I only needed enough mana to cast the Ad Nausea that was already in my hand or something.
It's also important to know, real quick, to hop back to Demonic Tutor. Another main reason, which is kind of funny why it's so good, is it's an actual combo with Underworld Breach. If you can Demonic Tutor for Underworld Breach, and then the Tutor is still in your graveyard, and you have enough mana to escape it from your graveyard and search your library for a Lion's Eye Diamond, and then sacrifice the Lion's Eye Diamond for mana, making the mana you need for your Demonic Tutor to search your library again for Brain Freeze, you can set up any of your combos that you want with the Underworld Breach. So although that's not like the main reason why it's good, and if Breach was gone, Demonic Tutor still would be good, I do think that's another aspect of why it's good, is that it's just an actual combo. It's a 1-card combo. It sets up your combo very easily, and the fact that it's 1 and a black makes it so simple to do that.
I mean, the argument is that it's a 1-card win condition in every deck then. Yeah, because like it can go find Intuition if you want to, set yourself up for that too. Like it goes and finds your Basalt, Monolith, and Kinnan. No, I was just thinking of 1-card win conditions.
It's only a 1-card win condition if you already have 1-card win conditions, which is kind of messy. It doesn't set up Thassa's Oracle, but if you Demonic Tutor for Tainted Pact and you already know that Thassa's Oracle is on the bottom of your library, you
surveilled it down there.
Yeah, you get Tainted Pact for it that way.
But not Surveil specifically, but
not
like
Surveil.
Mulligan.
Yeah, Mulligan or something like that. Realistically, with Underworld Breach and with Intuition and with other 1-card combos, it obviously goes and finds that 1-card combo. Or if you're finding a way that you can reuse things or something like that, like Underworld Breach or something. Yawgmoth's Will is another card that we might talk about that is in the same way. If you Demonic Tutor for Yawgmoth Will, cast Yawgmoth Will, and you can recast a Demonic Tutor and then piece it together with something else that was in your hand or graveyard.
There's so many decks that have just tried to make 2 tutors happen, and if you can make 2 tutors happen on 1 card, it completely busts it wide open. And I think Krark decks are kind of the best example of this, where not only can they easily do this with Demonic Tutor, of course, but there's a lot of Krark decks that are able to take advantage of this with Imperial Seal and Vampiric Tutor too, where if they have like Ashleen the Flame Dancer in play, they can respond to the original Vampiric Tutor that they have after the copy has resolved, so that they can get the card that they copied a Vampiric Tutor for and then cast that still in response to the Vampiric Tutor that they still have on the stack. It's very messy, but it's extremely powerful because it just gets you 2 tutors. That just is a win the game right there.
2 tutors is often going to be able to win you the game on the spot. Other tutors?
Wishclaw Talisman is another one that I put in like every single black deck.
Realistically, I sometimes think that maybe Wishclaw Talisman only really deserves a slot if you can do something with it. And that something can be very small. Maybe that something is Grinding Station, and you activate the Wishclaw Talisman, hold priority on the activation, and you Grinding Station it away, and you go search for something. You don't have to worry about giving it to somebody else.
I'm on like something as small as playing Chain of Vapor in your deck. I would do that too. Not into the Flood Maw. That can't target your own stuff.
Or you can Wishclaw Talisman for Into the Flood Maw, and then Into the Flood Maw, the Wishclaw Talisman, since somebody else has it.
Ooh, yeah. Or if you're just playing Opposition Agent,
that's another good one.
I don't know that you should be doing that anymore nowadays, but
sometimes, I don't know. Yeah, in a very slow deck, I think it can be okay. But yeah, I don't think you want to be Wishclawing for Opposition Agent, but if you already have the Oppo in your hand, you can make a weird deal. Sometimes the deal that you can make with Wishclaw is like, hey, if you just get a land, like you talk to the person who's the furthest behind, if you just get a land, I'll give you the Wishclaw Talisman. Or like, if you promise to give the Wishclaw back to me, I'll give you the Wishclaw Talisman. They'll do that, and then when they go to search, you have a fucking Opposition Agent. You go, gotcha. You know what I mean? Like, there are things that you can do to abuse it, but I think you have to have something to do to abuse the Wishclaw Talisman to play it. Otherwise, I like Praetor's Grasp a little bit more, but the 1 black pip versus 2 black pips is like a big difference.
I think that there is also something to be said about getting a card out of your own deck too, and something to be said about being able to do it at instant speed on your turn as well too. So there's times where, if you are already trying to win the game, it can just be your interaction, and I like that. At least it's a 3-mana tutor that you can space out over the course of a couple turns, but that always makes you the threat. People will always look at your Wishclaw and go, that guy has a Wishclaw Talisman, we have to do something to stop them.
Yeah, that's very true. And there's also, like you mentioned, on your turn. You can activate it anytime on your turn. I think a lot of times we get a lot of comments and videos of people saying, you can't do that in the upkeep. You can't do that in response to something. Wishclaw says you can only activate it on your turn. Doesn't mention anything about sorcery speed. You can't do it on somebody else's turn, but in the middle of a stack war or on your upkeep or in your end step or wherever on your turn, you're allowed to activate Wishclaw Talisman. That's really good.
That is really good, yeah. So I think that there's ways to abuse it, which kind of make it feel a little bit more powerful than some of the other tutors, but they don't work with like some of the other stuff that we were talking about, like Underworld Breach. You can't Underworld Breach Wishclaw Talisman and do all of the same stuff at the same time. I guess if you grinding station, but you could just win the game then. Like, it's not like that's an upside I want to consider for that reason.
There's also some downsides where, like, if my plan is like I want to get Necropotence out right now, but I'm not winning right now, I'm just like drawing a bunch and then passing the turn, Wishclawing to make that happen doesn't really work, because if you Wishclaw, give it to somebody else, cast Necro and draw 10 cards, they have a Wishclaw, so they can find some way to stop you or something like that. And like, although technically that might be safe and okay, it feels really risky to me because you give them another piece of interaction or something like that, and it doesn't feel like a great spot to be a lot of the time.
No, I also don't feel like it is either, but it's hard to rank among some of the other tutors because of all of this stuff.
Right. It's also, we should talk about some of the other ones in Diabolic Intent.
That I kind of mentioned before.
We mentioned briefly.
When I was fucking up my order of things.
Very good in Roxai. Very good if you have a free or cheap commander that you can easily get rid of. If you're playing a couple mana dorks, it's great there too. Same thing with the sacrifice thing. If you want to sack Hulk or you want your creatures to die, or Esper Sentinel, something like that.
Make too many creatures too, like Nagila.
Oftentimes it's going to feel exactly like Demonic Tutor. It's going to feel like the same thing. It sets up Breach in the same way. You just have to have the creature fodder to be able to keep sacrificing and casting and stuff like that.
A lot of times it just matters that it's another copy of Demonic Tutor in your deck, because you just want like another hit at that effect. And by the time you're at the point in the game where you're ready to win, you have so many creatures in play that like you kind of don't care. And the decks that are able to facilitate this, that like you don't really care about which one's going away because they already got you that value. You just needed a third shot at the best card in your deck.
Right. Then there's stuff like Praetor's Grasp, which gets you conveniently a win condition out of other people's decks. So if you are actively and aggressively using Tainted Pact or Demonic Consultation to exile your library and you have gone through all of your win conditions, as long as you still have Praetor's Grasp, you can find somebody else's Underworld Breach or their Thassa's Oracle or their win condition, and you can win with that. And that's the main reason why I like Praetor's Grasp, is that it's a win condition if you've gotten rid of all of your win conditions, right?
Yeah, I agree. Plus, it's a win condition that gets around Opposition Agent too. I should have said a tutor. It's a tutor that gets around Opposition Agent, but then does also fall the Drannith Magistrate, funnily enough.
That's true. It also gets around Ashiok, because Ashiok is worded in the same way that players aren't allowed to search their own libraries, but Praetor's Grasp, you are searching an opponent's library, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, I've always really liked Praetor's Grasp, and I feel like I try to make excuses to put it in more decks than maybe it needs to go in. I don't know. I think there is something to be said about, like, all of my stuff's getting stopped and I need to find somebody else's stuff.
The cEDH metagame, oftentimes, it's a little bit closed, you know what I mean? Like, everyone's running many of the similar cards. If I want Rhystic Study, you have one. Even if I don't want a win condition, someone out of the 3 decks, more often than not, is going to have something that I would want, right?
And it's also kind of nice just to, like, Surgical Extraction one of the best cards out of someone's deck when it is also, like, the best thing in the situation that you're in. Like, if you could really use a Gaia's Cradle and you can take one out of the Rogthras deck, that's not a terrible thing to do.
I've never thought about that. You can play lands with Praetor's Grasp. Is that true?
Why wouldn't you?
I don't know why wouldn't you, but I've never done that because I've never played it in Cradle decks. That's kind of neat. I like that. It is kind of nice, is like if you maybe need to get Fierce Guardianship or a counterspell or something, maybe get the Mindbreak Trap because you want to protect your own thing and you want to make sure that they don't have it too. You get the information too. They've drawn a lot of cards. Technically, you could know like what was in their hands, sort of.
You may look at and play that card for as long as it remains exiled. So yeah, you could get a Gaia's Cradle with
3 mana for a Gaia's Cradle is not too bad.
Honestly, people spend 3 mana to try to find a Gaia's Cradle in their decks right now.
Right,
so
yeah. If you were playing a black-based Thrasios deck, Tevish Thrasios, I think Praetor's Grasp for a Gaia's Cradle could be like a great move. Or Deserted Temple, or any of the untappers if they already have their Cradle out or whatever. You know what I mean? Like that could be good.
Exactly. Yeah, don't forget, you can get lands.
There's a couple of other tutors that are good before we get to the bad ones.
Yeah, what are the other good ones?
I have Beseech the Mirror in my mind.
Oh, Beseech the Mirror is on my list too.
I think honestly this is, I don't want to say an underrated card, but like it's much better than you think that it is.
I agree. Yeah, it's better than Diabolic Intent, that's for sure.
I think so, yeah.
Because the investment that you have to put in a lot of the times is like the thing that has cast Beseech the Mirror and was like an artifact that was making you mana and it was already free to play. So it wasn't really an additional mana investment.
And most of the time you're getting something that costs 2 to 4 mana. So you are cheating on the mana. And if you go get a 4-drop, it's better than Demonic Tutor. If you get a 3-drop, it's better than Demonic Tutor because you Demonic Tutor for a 3-drop, that's going to cost you 5 mana. But if you do it with Beseech, that'll cost you 4. But that's a much better rate, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So the same could be said if you find like Displacer Kitten or something like that. Yeah.
And I think honestly, the main thing for Rogside that I love so much about this card, obviously, is that you can sacrifice an enchantment, which sounds like it's nothing, but sacrificing your Necropotence, or most specifically your Necrodominance, when you need to be going through an Underworld Breach line, that's the way to go. go. That's like one of the first steps I can often take. If I have Necro Dominance specifically, because Necro Dominance, the exile from graveyard is a replacement effect, so there's no responding to, whereas Necropotence, it's trigger. We've talked about this before, you can respond to that. But if Necro Dominance is the line and I Born Upon the Wind, the first thing that I want to do is either Chain of Vapor or Beseech the Mirror away my Necro Dominance so that I can go through some sort of graveyard line afterwards.
And Esper Sentinel is an artifact. You can sacrifice Esper Sentinel to bargain this, And
enchantment and artifact are tokens. So you can't sacrifice Rograk, which kind of sucks, but even getting rid of a Mana Vault because you don't want to take one, or just to get it into the graveyard sometimes, I'll oftentimes sacrifice like a Mox Opal, because once I get the Breach in play, I need to get free mana, and the only way to do that is get the Mox Opal from my graveyard that I just sacrificed, right? So that can often be like a really good play pattern.
This card ended up being pretty busted. Yeah, again, it falls to Drenith Magistrate, casting 2 spells at the same time, so if Mindbreak Trap is an issue for you, you might want to think about that. It probably won't be. I just have to think about that all the time. So yeah, I think I agree. This is going to be like one of the better tutors in the format, I think.
If I were rating the tutors, I think that we've gotten through the good ones at this point, right?
I'm all through the good tutors.
We could really quickly go over the bad ones before we rate these.
Yeah, because they're not going to make the top. Grim Tutor's not going to make the top 10.
No, but it's pretty close at 3 life. I often find that in the early game, 3 mana for tutor is too much, and in the late game, I am at 2 life because I've just ad nauseum, and Grim Tutor is not good there either. But it's close. Demonic Council, which is another one we talked about earlier. The Delirium part is often easy-ish, but again, in the very early game, that can be kind of tricky to get 4 specific different card types. And in the late game, it is very good, though. No doubt about that. In the late game, it is powerful, but it is not great with Underworld Breach because you have to exile cards to recast it the first few times, which means you might turn it off, which was not good, right?
Yeah, and then you can only get a demon, which is kind of silly. Yeah.
Demonic Tutor, then for me, it's Beseech the Mirror. Then after that, it's probably Wishclaw Talisman, Diabolic Intent, and then Praetor's Grasp.
No, Vampiric Tutor's better than Beseech. Vampiric Tutor's better than Beseech.
We didn't talk about we did. We talked about Vampiric Tutor and Imperial Seal.
But I think that Vampiric Tutor is definitely going to be above Beseech.
Interesting.
I could make an argument for Beseech to be above Imperial Seal, but Vamp Tutor goes in every deck, and Beseech doesn't. It works in most decks, but it just doesn't. I don't have a good reason for you either.
No, I think you're right. I think Beseech the Mirror is a little bit, I want to say like more all in. It has to do something good and specific for you. It has to sacrifice your Necro Dominance. It has to get you Underworld Breach in play. If you're just like, and I don't know what deck is lightly splashing black, but like if you're not playing some of those Necropotents or whatever, like the fact that Beseech the Mirror also goes and gets Necropotents and puts it right into play, like that's also one of the huge things for me.
But again, if you're not in like heavy black, like you kind of don't really care about a lot of these other things. Like you really only need a handful of them because a lot of the good black cards only require the 1 pip.
In Rogsai specifically, Beseech is better, but that's a Rogsai thing, and we're talking about
the
cEDH
format as a whole.
On the whole, I think you are probably right. It's Demonic Tutor, then Vampiric Tutor. I want to put Beseech third when it comes to just the tutors.
Because Imperial Seal has a lot of downsides.
The sorcery speed is a downside. I'm terrified to Imp Seal on my turn when Atali's coming after me. Like that, you know what I mean?
You can't do that. Yeah, you can't do that. Yeah.
Like what do I have to hope that you didn't keep a turn 2 Atali?
You can really only Imperial Seal if you have a way to draw the card immediately. Which is why I still only really like it in the mid-rangey decks, like Timda decks or something like that.
Right, yeah, I think you're right. It's much better in those decks. It's kind of weird. Like in Sisei specifically, I'm not playing Imperial Seal or Vampiric Tutor, which is kind of weird, but I am playing Demonic Tutor. Demonic Tutor is for sure, out of all the cards we've talked about, even the rituals, Demonic Tutor is the best. I think there's an argument that it's probably Vampiric Tutor and then Dark Ritual.
I think that's exactly what I was thinking
Although,
too.
It's strange because in the decks that Dark Ritual is good in, Dark Ritual is better. But Vampiric Tutor just goes in more decks, maybe?
I think Vampiric Tutor goes in more decks, because there's an argument for if you're not trying to be explosive that you don't really want Demonic Tutor.
Dark Ritual, you mean?
Whoa, yeah. If you're not trying to be super explosive, you really only want permanent mana. Yeah, you're not really interested in a little bit of a burst, but sometimes a little bit of a burst is kind of nice because you can go Dark Ritual into Talisman into another Talisman, and now you're set up to have 4 mana on turn 2, and if you have a card advantage engine to play, then you kind of don't care about going a little bit behind on cards that Dark Ritual did.
Right, yeah, and if we've talked about the Elvish and Simian Spirit Guides as being like some of the best cards in their colors,
then Dark Ritual has to
because it's a very similar thing. Demonic Tutors first, then Vampiric Tutor, and then Dark Ritual.
Yeah, and then Beseech, the Mirror.
I think, and then Beseech the Mirror. I want to say Praetor's Grasp might be better than Wishclaw Talisman.
I think Imperial Seal is better than
Praetor's
the
Grasp.
3-mana ones, I want to say.
That's probably true. I think Praetor's Grasp is more important because it's a win condition also when you've gotten rid of your win conditions.
I think the mana value is a little bit tough, I think. And I think there's also something to be said about like relying on your own deck versus your opponent's deck. The 99% of times where it works out, you're going to be very happy with Praetor's Grasp, but that 1% of times where you're like, you are not playing the card that I thought that you might be playing because I might not be inclined to tell you the truth.
That's very true, but Imperial Seal, like all of the tutors, get something out of your deck. Praetor's Grasp does, sometimes they're not going to get you what you want, but it's the only one that's like unique and it does something kind of different and getting you something out of other people's decks.
Unique is not always best, though.
That's true, yeah, but yeah, I guess to me, unique is a strength because Imperial Seal, it's strictly worse than another card. It's only worse than Vampiric Tutor, whereas Praetor's Grasp offers you something different, and to me, that's like important in a singleton format. Like it offers you something different. But you're right, the mana value is a big thing. 1 versus 3 is huge,
and it's only a win condition if you've already gotten rid of all of your other win conditions. Right. Demonic Tutor is a win condition. Like Imperial Seal is also a win condition because it goes and finds you a win condition in your deck. So if they're all, if one tutor is going to be a win con, they're all going to be win cons.
Sort of, yes, but there's like caveats to all of them. Like Imperial Seal, for it to be a win con, you need to be able to draw a card, which is a small caveat, but a caveat nonetheless. You need to be able to get it right away. Praetor's Grasp, they need to have the card in the deck. If you want Underworld Breach and you want to get it out of your library, but Praetor's Grasp with the card that you have, you can still be win condition and get it out of their library unless it's in their hand.
I guess.
And then it's not, you know what I mean? If the breach is in their hand, you can't get it.
There's also a floor of Imp Seal where you don't need to draw the card right away. Like you can just put Food Chain on top of your deck and then wait to get it, and then you just get it, right? It's not best in that scenario, but it still can do the same things. I'm weighing the mana value way more in this decision, for me personally.
I think that's fair. I think that's fair. Praetor's Grasp, and again, I've said this a couple times, I'm looking at most of these cards through the lens of Rog side because that's how I play these cards. And in Rog in particular, I value Praetor's Grasp a little bit more than Imperial Seal.
But I think most decks value Imperial Seal over Praetor's Grasp.
And even still, if I'm looking at it again realistically, Imp Seal can facilitate turn 2 wins much easier than Praetor's Grasp can.
Oh, for sure.
Praetor's Grasp is only good once they've already done all the shit. Once they've made all the mana, once they have the resources, then Praetor's Grasp is good. In the beginning, on turn 1 or 2, 3 mana is, like you said, it's nothing. It doesn't do anything. It's too expensive.
Yeah,
so I think you're right. I think it's Demonic Tutor, Dark Ritual, Vampiric Tutor, Beseech the... I still think maybe Beseech the Mirror over Imp Seal.
I think Beseech the Mirror over Imp Seal, too.
It cheats the mana.
It cheats the mana. You get it right away.
Right. It's effectively, if you get Necropotence, it only costs you 1 mana, kind of.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because you Demonic Tutored for it. Yeah,
so Beseech the Mirror, and then Imperial Seal, and then Praetor's Grasp. Maybe Cabal Ritual is better than Praetor's Grasp, even? Maybe Cabal Ritual is better than Praetor's Grasp, and then Wishclaw Talisman, and then that's already like almost like 10 cards.
I'm sorry I didn't respond after you said that, but yeah, I agree. I think Cabal Ritual is probably better than Praetor's Grasp.
Right? Which is, I know I was just saying that Praetor's Grasp might be better than Vampiric Tutor, but I think you won me over. I mean, better than Imperial Seal. I do think Imperial Seal is better than Praetor's Grasp.
Especially as we start to get a little bit more context with some of the other cards that we're going to put on the list too. I think that will help us kind of realize where some of these other things kind of go. Because Calling the Weak too is the last card I want to put somewhere.
Yeah, and again, in the lens of Rog side, Calling the Weak is
busted.
I tutor for it all the time. It's one of my most tutored for cards. It's the thing that I Vampiric Tutor for like most of the time, realistically, which is kind of crazy. But like in other decks, it's only medium. If you don't have Rograk, it's only kind of good in the later game.
It's not as good on turn 1 the way that it is in Rograk, but maybe that should still be weighing it a little bit too. I don't want to take everything away from that.
Right, yeah. Rogsai is one of the best decks in the format, so a card being good in Rogsai is a strength of the card.
It's still
right?
Yeah. I know that I'm trying to like make sure we consider everything in the format, but I don't want to diminish how strong Rogsai is too, and how important it is that they're good in Rogsai.
Yeah. So do we have the list? Do we have a final? Did you write it?
Yeah. Right now I have Demonic Tutor, Vampiric Tutor, Dark Ritual, Beseech the Mirror, Cabal Ritual, Praetor's Grasp, Wishclaw Talisman, and then Calling the Weak.
Is Dark Ritual better than Vampiric Tutor? Is it number 2, or is Dark Ritual 3rd, you think?
We've been talking about Dark Ritual 3rd pretty consistently.
Oh, okay. I thought we had to mention it. I feel like it's... okay, yeah, I think you're right. Okay, it'll be 3rd. I know we've made the mistake of putting Simian Spirit Guide and Elvish Spirit Guide lower than they should have been every single time, so I don't know if this is the same boat, but we'll touch back on that in a little bit.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep that in mind as we keep going through here. Yeah. Cool, okay. There's a couple of other things that act as tutors that aren't really tutors.
Yeah, what are those?
They are Tainted Pact and Demonic Consultation.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, they are cards that basically let you go through your deck, exiling cards until you find the thing that you need or said, and then you stop exiling cards and you get the thing that you needed or said, and then put it in your hand. So they act as tutors, but we call them forbidden because they can backfire on you pretty easily.
Tainted Pact is a little bit safer because you can stop whenever, and if you just need a counterspell, you can stop at whatever counterspell.
But it does make you change how you build your deck because you can't play 2 basic lands of the same name in your Tainted Pact decks.
Right, yeah.
Otherwise, you have to stop on the second basic land that you find if you're Thoracle.
Yeah, exactly. But also, 2 mana at instant speed for a tutor is an unheard of rate. If you'll notice, all of these other tutors are sorcery speed besides Vampiric Tutor, and that puts it on top, not into your hand. Instant speed to get a card into your hand, Tainted Pact kind of does it the best. You just have to maybe exile some shit on the way.
And again, we're a singleton format, so you're like, oh wow, you're gonna exile your whole deck to find something that you need. But like a lot of times, you only need to find like a counterspell or a silence effect. Like there's so many different versions of effects that you play. You know, oh, I need to find Born Upon the Wind. Well, I run that, Valley Floodcaller, and Final Fortune. There's multiple hits that I can find in my deck, so I don't have to exile too many things.
I think it feels bad sometimes while you're Tainted Pacting or Consulting and you get rid of cards that might be good. And I have certainly killed myself with Demonic Consultation in the past. But you also have to remember that like just because the card is good doesn't mean it's necessary right now. You don't need to cast all of the spells in your deck. You just need to cast the ones that allow you to win the game. So just because you get rid of the Thassa's Oracle and the Underworld Breach and the Demonic Betrayal as you're going to find your thing, you have Praetor's Grasp. So you're just going to Praetor's Grasp for the Underworld Breach from somebody else's library, and then it doesn't matter all that shit that you exiled. It's irrelevant. Even though like it emotionally can feel bad, I think it's like good to like kind of get over that hump. And especially in a turbo-centric deck like Rogside, like I treat Demonic Consultation like it's a 1-mana instant speed Demonic Tutor, because that's what it's going to be. It's either going to win me the game if it resolves correctly, or it'll lose me the game. And if I lose the game, I don't know, so be it.
But realistically, you have such a small % chance of it actually losing you the game because of, things like Praetor's Grasp that we were already talking about. Plus, you were, again, singleton format, so what are the actual odds it's going to be in the top 6? Insanely low.
Very, very low, yeah. And it's going to happen, and it's going to feel, horrible when it does happen.
You're going to laugh about it,
it's going to be
play
funny
another
story.
game, yeah.
Right, yeah, but like when it doesn't do that, it's going to win you the game almost on the spot.
Because either it came right before Thassa's Oracle trigger, or it got you the thing that you needed to facilitate the win.
Right, yeah. So these cards are also very, very good. I would personally think that Demonic Consultation is better just because of the mana value, even though the effect on Tainted Pact is better.
Interesting, because I would have said that the backup tutor effect of Tainted Pact is a little bit better because
safer.
A lot of decks just look at Consultation as, only being a win condition, but I think that might be a player skill issue versus a power issue, right? When we see Demonic Consultation, like there's a lot of decks that probably could be using it as a 1-mana Demonic Tutor more. It's just the pilots that are too afraid to do that. So maybe it's not skill issue. Maybe it's just like, I don't want to risk it. There's some decks that play more into mid-range that aren't willing to risk that, but still want to win with a Thassa's Oracle combo. So yeah, I think I'm willing to go a little bit higher on Demonic Consultation than I originally would have thought, because I think you're right. Maybe it is just like, get good.
And there's certainly situations, like you said, the Demonic Consultation is too risky. Like you kind of have to, you're casting it if like the game is on the line right now. If someone has a win condition on the stack and you need to find counter magic for that because nobody else has anything or whatever, you should probably make a deal with the table because you're fucking chunking the shit out of your deck. But if you, like, you're gonna die if you don't do it, right? So it gives you a chance where you otherwise didn't have a chance.
Right, it's better than having like the Thassa's Oracle part in your hand where that wouldn't do.
Doesn't do shit.
Doesn't do shit, right?
Yeah.
At least it's a combo piece that like has an interactive element or a win the game element, depending on like the point that you're at.
The only other thing, and it's not really even worth noting, is like Mental Misstep counters Consultation and it doesn't counter Tainted Pact, which is kind of like something, you know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
gotcha. Haha.
There are moments where you're like, maybe I shouldn't do the Consultation because I have another line and because they might have Mental Misstep.
Yeah.
It can weigh in your decision of like, when should I fire off this spell or whatever, but I think they're close. I personally think Consult's better because it's cheaper and cheaper's better. It's the same reason why Vampiric Tutor is as high as it is.
I want to put them right next to each
they're
other.
right next to each other. Yeah, right next to each other.
Actually, I almost want to put them in the same slot, because they go hand in hand. You are normally playing both of these cards in the same deck because you're on Thassa's Oracle. Although there are decks that I think that don't play Thassa's Oracle that still play Tainted Pact.
That's true. I was just going to say, if you're not on Thoracle, you probably play Tainted Pact, but Demonic Consultation you might not play because you feel it's too risky.
Because other people play Thoracle. So if you play Praetor's Grasp and you can cast Thassa's Oracle in your deck still, you can steal someone else's Thassa's Oracle and win with your Tainted Pact then. Does that make me want to put Tainted Pact over Demonic Consultation again then?
Maybe, like, it's kind of a similar situation that we've gotten a couple times. Like, in the broader sense, Tainted Pact might be better in, like, more decks, but Consultation is, like, more strong in the decks that it's strong in.
And the more decks that it's strong in, yeah. And I do kind of want to give Consultation some slack for, I think, maybe players playing it too safely. And, like, there probably could be more that we could be doing to, you know, really blow this card out of the water more. We're just too scared to.
Yeah,
me included.
Right, yeah. If you look at the math, the option of hitting it in the top 6, it's gonna happen, but it's like incredibly low odds. I don't even know what the math is, but it's very low. It's very low that you're actually gonna hit the one card that you need.
6 out of 85, right. Probably, right? Yeah,
right,
that's
exactly.
pretty low. Yeah.
I still think that they are basically the same. If I can cheat and give them the same rating, I would.
I would love to do that. I think that they're better than Imperial Seal, and I'm wondering if they're better than Beseech the Mirror.
Probably. Yeah, they're part of the best win condition in the format, and their instant speed.
Okay.
I think so.
But they're worse than Dark Ritual. I think I have to put them under Dark Ritual.
Very close, very close, very close.
Because I'm already thinking about moving Dark Ritual up and being above Vampire.
Does Dark Ritual go in every single black deck? Are there black decks that don't play Ritual?
No, I think that,
right?
but
Not
I think that they're
ones.
very few and far between.
Yeah, I mean, like,
There's more
Sisay plays black, and I don't play Dark Ritual, but I just put in Consultation and Thoracle in Sisay.
Yeah, but a lot of decks don't. A lot of Sisay don't do that.
But no Sisay decks play Dark Ritual. Some Sisay decks play Demonic Consultation, Tainted Pact.
I still think that there's more decks that play Dark Ritual than play Consultation, but I can't back that up.
There's a lot more black decks that don't play blue. Right? Like, those decks do exist.
Yeah.
Tayam, but Tayam doesn't play Dark Ritual.
Dargo Timna?
Dargo Timna, yeah.
But that would play Tainted Pact and Dark Ritual, but not play...
But no Demonic Consultation. So maybe Tainted Pact is better than Demonic Consultation.
I'm still putting them on the same list.
Yep, same list.
We named one deck, right? And there's still more decks that play Consultation that might not be using it properly.
Is Dark Ritual better, though? I think Dark Ritual might be worse than Tainted Pact.
We think Dark Ritual's worse than Tainted Pact and Consult?
I don't know.
I will put the... Dark Ritual's not a combo piece.
Dark Ritual's not a combo piece. Well, with the Tide card, it
with
can
the
be.
Tide Caller.
Yeah, Tide Caller. It's probably a Tide Caller.
I bet it's some kind of Tide Caller.
Yeah, I bet you're right.
I'm gonna put them under Dark Rit.
Put them under for now.
We'll
update it later if we need to. We've gotten the guides wrong each time. I think Dark Ritual's too good.
We did get the guides wrong each time. We have one last category of cards to talk about, and this is cards that get you all of the cards.
Pay life to acquire cards.
That's a way better way to say that, yeah. This is Ad Nauseam, Necropotence, and Necrodominance, but I don't know that Necrodominance is gonna make our top 10.
Probably not. Peer into the Abyss and Bolas' Citadel are also in this category.
Yes. Oh, good point.
They don't see as much play.
I don't think they'll make the top 10 either, but Peer into the Abyss is notable because of, like, synergies and lines that you can do with Hoarding Broodlord, if that's a way that you want to go. But Bolas' Citadel sees more play if you have, like, a reanimation thing going, because you can use, like, Goblin Welder to cheat it into play and bullshit like that.
Both are pretty good if you have a reanimation kind of thing, because Entomb kind of works with both of them in a weird way. You can Entomb to Goblin reanimate the Bolas' Citadel, or Entomb to reanimate the Hoarding Broodlord.
We spent years talking about not how good Reanimator is, though, in cEDH, and I think that if you're leaning to one of these effects, it's Necrodominance and Ad Nauseam that are really better.
I also personally think, and I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but I think if you're doing the Peer into the Abyss off of Hoarding Broodlord line, I personally would rather resolve an Ad Nauseam with extra mana available than dump it all into a Peer into the Abyss.
Because you already got rid of the expensive card.
You already got rid of the expensive cards. And then, like, the most important thing to consider when doing draw a bunch of cards is you have to have the mana to cast the cards. And if you are tapped out, you have to very specifically find free mana to get your shit going. And there's only so many free mana spells. Whereas if you cast Ad Nauseam with 2 or 3 mana available, you don't need to find the free spells as specifically. You can find the Dark Rituals and the Soul Rings, and you can go from the mana that you have left over.
Interesting.
So I think if I were to do a Hoarding Broodlord line again, I would rather just do the Hoarding Broodlord and Saw in Half thing and find Ad Nauseam and do that.
It might depend on the rest of your deck, because if you're reanimating, maybe you're doing World Gorge or Dragon Loops.
But
I can't believe I'm saying that in 2026.
Shouldn't be, you know what I mean? If you're doing it, you should just be reanimating Hoarding Broodlord, or like maybe like Consecrated Sphinx if you want, like, I'm not going to win the game, I'm just going to get Consecrated Sphinx.
Abdel Adrian. If you're trying to do infinite mana, you should just do Abdel Adrian anyway.
And I'm okay with hitting a 5-drop, and I also just put Commandeer in my Rogside deck who I'm playing Ad Nauseam, so I don't. Who gives a shit? You know what I mean?
Yeah, just win the game. Yeah.
If you hit the 7-drop, okay, I have a Commandeer in my hand, so you're not going to counter anything that I play after this Ad Nauseam. That's fine.
So really, I do think it's really Ad Nauseam and Necropotence that are going to be in the top 10, just because they run one of the greatest turbo strategies of all time, which is just like have black cards in your deck and draw all of the cards in your deck by getting these things out really early.
Necropotence, I would say today, Necropotence is the better one, mainly because of mana cost and because we've gotten the flash enablers recently that make the winning in the end step very easy and doable.
Yeah,
right?
we've always had Final Fortune as an option to go with Necro, but it was really Valley Floodcaller and Born Upon the Wind specifically, because that one came first, that really opened up Necropotence as an option before. Because before, we would have said that Peer Into the Abyss was better than Necropotence. There was a long time that we felt playable, that because Blue Farm decks weren't on Necropotence, but we were running Peer Into the Abyss in our Ad Nauseam decks until we realized we shouldn't be doing that. Peer Into the Abyss is deflecting swattable and has way more downsides than these other cards.
Although it does have one upside of you can Peer Into the Abyss at 2 life and lose half your life and go to 1 and still draw half your deck.
That is pretty cool.
That's
yeah,
something.
all
That's
these other
something.
cards that we're talking about are shut off if you're at like 3 life or something like that for the most part.
They're shut off if you're at like 10 or 15 life sometimes.
Yeah,
right?
like, I have 3 cards I can get. Yeah, you're not winning off those 3 cards.
Right,
yeah.
But and then Ad Nauseam is a little bit trickier because it's slower. You have to spend 5 mana, and it's harder to win from a main phase Ad Nauseam nowadays. Like Rogsai can do it, and some blue farms can do it, but a lot of the times you kind of need to end step Nas and then go to your turn, because the Nas, like in the mid-range piles, it's really going to draw you like 15 cards maybe. Even in Rogsai, it really only draws me like 20, 25 cards maybe.
That's the thing,
kind of high
So
too.
you're virtually tapping out on your main phase every single time to flip over Stormkiln Artist now?
Yeah.
Fuck me.
Whereas like with Necropotence, like I can feel very confident on a Necro. If I'm at 38 life, I can pay 36 or 37 of it, draw 36 cards, which is way more than Nas will ever see you.
Stormkiln Artist. Who gives
cares?
a shit?
Right, yeah. When I Necro and see the Commandeer in the pile, it's the best thing fucking ever. I only pay the 1 life for it, and if you have anything, it doesn't matter. I have the blue spells to do the Commandeer and protect my shit. So Necro is definitely right now like the best one. And then it's Ad Nauseam. And then I think Necro Dominance is still way better than Peer Into the Abyss and Bolas of Citadel.
I agree, yeah.
I gave that card a little bit of shit because compared directly to Necropotence, it is bad in every way that Necropotence is broken.
But it still draws 30 cards, and if you compare it to Peer Into the Abyss drawing that many cards, okay, yeah, but you have to spend all that other mana to do it too. And
yeah, Peer Into the Abyss draws you the most cards because often it'll draw you 40 or 45 cards, right?
Yeah.
But at 7 mana at sorcery speed, that's way worse. Ad Nauseam has the benefit of you can do it on the end step. You can Ad Naus in response to somebody else's win condition and say, you gotta let me resolve this so I can find a counterspell for the win condition or we're dead. Like it's got some political moves where
It's a lot of funny applications.
Yeah, Peer doesn't really have that, right?
So where do we put these 2 cards on the list then, the Necro and the Ad Naus? Because I should say, I think Demonic Tutor is going to go above both of them.
Interesting. If I would plant a very strong flag that Necropotence is the best black card in the format. I really do think that it's better than Demonic Tutor, but I would understand an argument for you, and I'm happy if we want to like, for me, Necropotence is the best black card in the format. If Rhystic Study is going to be the best blue card and Underworld Breach is the best red card, Necropotence is the thing that you're tutoring for. It's the focal point of black, I think. At least for me right now, it's like the best card in I don't know. I would say, but if we're doing on the whole, Demonic Tutor goes in Sisay, Necropotence doesn't go in Sisay.
If it was the best card in Rogsai, the best black card in Rogsai, I would agree that Necropotence would be the best, but I'm trying to look at this as the format as a whole. And if I'm looking at it as the format as a whole, the format is not built around Necropotence. Some of the best black strategies are built around that, but there's not every black deck is built around that, whereas like Demonic Tutor is going in hands down every single black deck that you build 100% of the time.
I would like, there's a little bit of an argument of like, I don't even know if this is an argument. Like if one of the cards was banned, Demonic Tutor or Necropotence, which ban would affect the format more? I would think getting rid of Necropotence would affect the format more than getting rid of Demonic Tutor would, but I don't know if that means that Demonic Tutor is better.
Well, I think that's because Necropotence is like a strategy.
It's an archetype.
Whereas like, yeah, if we ban Rhystic Study, we also agree that like, well, there's so many other card draw advantage engines, you're still going to play all the best card draw advantage engines, and you're not really going to like affect what mid-range hell looks like in that way. We just like get rid of the best one, which is kind of what we would be doing with Demonic Tutor. There's still so many other options to do the same thing. Whereas like, okay, yeah, we have Ad Nauseam and Necro Dominance, but like, I don't feel like it's the same impact.
It's not the same, yeah. I don't know. Like, if it were my favorite, it would be Necropotence is the number 1. I could see an argument where Demonic Tutor just goes in more decks, even though it's slightly less powerful overall. The more decks thing, it makes it, it raises its level a little bit.
I think it does.
Yeah, okay.
I think it does.
That's fair. It's Necropotence got to go second though. I won't stand for it going third.
I will give you Necropotence on
it must
number
be at least
2.
second.
Yeah,
it has to be.
I think
it's close.
Between 1, 2, and 3, I think they're all like right there, because Vampiric Tutor I think has just enough downsides. You lose life when you cast Vampiric Tutor. I don't even know that we fucking said that.
Yeah, and that is relevant. There have been times where you Nas or your Necro are really low and your Vampiric Tutor is shut off because you went to 2 or 1 life.
You have
and
to keep in mind
right?
by the time you get to 5 life, like, well, I reveal, if you already revealed Vamp Tutor and know that it has to be, if you know that like Vamp Tutor is still in your deck, I think that's different. But if you revealed Vamp Tutor in your Nas already and and you know it has to be part of your line, then you kind of have to keep that in mind,
right,
too.
Yeah. Now I'm kind of thinking that Dark Ritual is better than Vampiric Tutor because the uniqueness, I think, adds something in singleton format of like, this does something, but like there are other rituals, you know what I mean? There's no other instant speed, get whatever you want.
But there's one other black ritual. We've talked about a billion different tutors in this list. I feel like
if Vampiric Tutor gets banned, nothing changes. If Dark Ritual gets banned, a lot shit would change.
That would be a big hit.
Yeah. So I think it's got to be Demonic Tutor, Necropotence, then Dark Ritual, and then very closely after that is Vampiric Tutor.
Vampiric Tutor. I agree. Yeah. Now I have one dishonorable mention to talk about before we establish what the top 10 was.
What are your dishonorable mentions? And then I'll rack my brain and see if I can find any dishonorable mentions as well.
Orcish Bowmaster.
Oh, of course, yeah.
I think I just made so many people mad that it's not going anywhere near the top 10.
Yeah, I kind of stand by it. Orcish Bowmaster is good. A lot of times it doesn't do anything.
It does jack shit. Oh, good. I have Orcish. Here's my interaction as Orcish Bowmaster.
You're like, great, you dealt 10 damage to the Ristic player drawing cards, and then they're at from 30 to 20, and they still win the game with something else, right?
That was a bad move. You should have hit their creatures that are winning them the game because they were probably like a Thrasios deck or a Blue Farm deck or like even a Rog Ishai. Kill the Rograk that's in play. It's not card advantage hate. It's creature hate that takes advantage of the fact that people draw so many cards in cEDH.
And I do think it's undoubtedly powerful. It's very good at stopping certain strategies, but it's not good at stopping many strategies. It's great at shutting the shit off of Rogthras. It's very good against that deck. Even, honestly, and I don't want to say this too loudly, but if you Bowmaster my Rograk in Rogsite early on, that'll be a good mood for you. That's going to buy you some time for sure. Like, that's going to be good. But not always, you know what I mean? If you don't know what's in my hand, if I have fucking Dark Ritual Manival ad nauseum, okay, kill my rocks.
Who cares?
I don't give a shit, right? You know what I mean? So you don't always know, and I think it opens you up to make mistakes. I think it opens you up to kill the Birds of Paradise when you should have spent the damage on the Hexing Squelcher, paid the 2 life, and prevented them from drawing an additional card, knowing that you'd be able to get rid of that Hexing Squelcher if they did draw a card.
That's a really good
things
point,
like that.
Yeah.
Like the preventing you from drawing more cards because I'm going to put 2 damage on your Thrasios, so now don't draw a card, otherwise I'll kill the Thrasios, right? That's good.
Yeah, you can kind of use it more as a stacks piece like that too, instead of just being removal. Because you'll notice that one of the categories that we did not talk about that's kind of ubiquitous to black cards in general is removal, which is something in every other format, even in casual EDH, you would say you play black for the best removal spells in the format, and then you shove your glasses up as high as they can go.
Whereas in cEDH, that's not the case. Blue and white has the best removal spells.
We're not talking about Dismember, although I know you love
one of my
Dismember.
pet cards. I love that card so much. It's nowhere close to being one of the top 10 cards.
Even the Dudley Rollick.
Yeah, Deadly Rollick, great card in certain decks, but just doesn't see a ton of play. 4 mana, actual mana, hurts off of Adnaz, and like, who cares about killing their stuff?
I don't want to remove your thing entirely. Like, it's almost a downside to get rid of your thing entirely, because if I can't win after I remove the thing, I want you to Collector Oof or whatever.
I just want to bounce it. The blue bounce spells are so good for that reason.
Yeah, so Orcish Bowmaster is very specifically one that I wanted to say.
Also really good with Wheel of Fortune. If you got an Underworld Breach and a Wheel of Fortune, it's a win condition. I mean, Underworld Breach and Wheel of Fortune is already kind of a win condition, but like just wheeling a couple times with the Bowmaster in play, that'll win you the game.
Yawgmoth's Will is another honorable mention that I have.
Yeah, a card that I considered cutting in Rockside when I was definitely wrong for. But yeah, Yawgmoth's Will pulls off some of the same winning lines that you can do with Underworld Breach. It's worse in some ways because the card's exiled forever, but it's better in some ways because it doesn't die to Force of Vigor or Beseiju because it's not an enchantment. Once it resolves, the effect is in play. It lingers. It shuts off some of your own graveyard thing because of the exile thing, but you can play a land out of it. It's really good with Lion's Eye Diamond. It is a good card, and it allows you to play around things that you otherwise might not be able to play around.
In the archetype that it's good
in. The archetype that it's good in.
And I think that's why it's more of an honorable mention today.
You got to be kind of full in on the all turbo stuff, graveyard shit. It's really, if you brain freeze yourself, then it's crazy. Whatever.
Oh, it's insane.
You know what I mean? Like, there are things to make it really good, but it certainly doesn't go in every deck.
Yuriko says, fuck that. I'm not playing this.
Yeah, if you're not using rituals and if you're not using a bunch of tutors and you're not filling up your yard, then it's not really going to do anything for you.
Exactly, yeah.
Are there any others?
The other 2 creatures of Opposition Agent and Dauthi Voidwalker are just like good creatures in Commander, but have not stayed the course for the entirety of their longevity in cEDH.
Dauthi sucks. Oppo is sometimes good. I actually think that Oppo is kind of reasonable. Again, I mean, it's really good against Sisay. It's really good against Rogthras.
A lot of decks that it is really good against, but it's a stacks piece.
Yeah, the 3 mana investment is just kind of a lot, I feel like.
It's going to be really hard for me to put a stacks piece at the top of like this list, the best black cards in cEDH.
Yeah.
Not a stacks piece.
Black does offer a lot of weird graveyard stuff to fringe or like, you know, even like random meta decks or whatever.
There's a lot of synergy pieces that you can find in black that are good in conjunction with a lot of the other stuff that we've talked about here. But the top 10 that we're about to go over, these is the most ubiquitous cards in black.
I'm going to feel bad if we forgot something, or at least we got the top 10 cards for sure.
We got the top 10 cards.
Yeah, I don't think we missed anything else for that.
Maybe we missed some other honorable mentions, but I'll be honest, if we can't think of them in the time, how honorable of a mention would it even be?
Yeah. Should we start? We do our list? Do you have the list?
The number 10 black card in cEDH is Praetor's Grasp. And then the number 9 card is Cabal Ritual. That feels low, but I'm looking at the rest of the list and I'm like, no, this seems right, actually. Yeah. Because number 8 is Imperial Seal. Number 7's Beseech the Mirror.
Yep. I like this one more, but I understand.
I think we thought it was going to go higher. And then as we kept talking about more cards, we realized that there's some stuff that's just too powerful to not be up here. So number 5.
6. Because after 7 is 6.
There's 2 here.
Oh, okay. Number 5 and 6.
So I'm going to give them number 5. Well, they're both at the same level.
Are they at 5 and we have no 6, or that's 6 and we have no 5?
They're at 5.5.
They're both at 5.5. Coming in at both 5.5
is Tainted Pact and Demonic Consultation.
I agree. Yep.
Great. All right. That's a nice niche in the list that I love. And then our number 4 is Vampiric Tutor. Number 3 is Dark Ritual. Number 2 is Necropotence. And then the best black card in cEDH is Demonic Tutor.
That all sounds right to me. Although I think Necropotence should be 1, but I understand how it didn't go number 1 in this particular.
You know, I can understand how there could be a lot of biases in, you know, your own list as you're watching from home too. If you decide that, no, I play Yuriko and Shadow of Mortality is actually better than a lot of these other cards.
You're definitely entitled to that opinion.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
Your mic got a little crooked. For solidarity, I'll do mine like this.
Count Dooku microphones.
Dooku.
Who is that?
That's the guy with all the arms. Says Dooku at some point. Doesn't it sound like that? Maybe that's Bane. I don't know.
You did the Bane voice while talking about General Grievous?
We didn't mention ad nauseum.
Well, we mentioned it. We just didn't put it on the list.
Gotta be like maybe somewhere around Demonic Constellation Tainted Pact. Just above, I would say.
It should be above, yeah. I mean, ad nauseum is like a commander card.
It's the card.
It's the card,
It's the card, yeah.
What about Vamp Tutor?
It's, I guess worse than Vampire Tutor.
Yeah, okay.
It's the thing that you're Vampire Tutoring for.
All right, do you want to hear the top 10, Dylan?
I would love to hear our top 10 black cards in cEDH.
This is the top 10, and no one can say there was another one. Our number 10 is Cabal Ritual. Our number 9 is Imperial Seal. Our number 8 is Beseech the Mirror. Our number 6.5 is Tainted Pact and Demonic Consultation. And so that means our number 5 is Ad Nauseum. The 4th best black card in cEDH is Vampiric Tutor. The 3rd best black card in cEDH is Dark Ritual. Our 2nd best black card in cEDH is Necropotence.
Should be number 1.
But the real number 1 is Demonic Tutor.
And the friends we made along the way.
That's absolutely right.
Thank you so much for watching. If you want to support us directly, you can do so on Patreon, like our $100 patrons.
Tenception, Mac the Mad, Seabass, Bob the Skull, Davishar, Abyss AA, Peggy, E4 Cards and More, Red, Finks MTG, Wandering Around, Nethresmian, Mike H, Tom Bieber, Cumulative Upkeep MTG, Nathan Cohen, Mr. Derby, Okitoad, Penguin Man 0089, David Newman, Johnny Denver, Omelet, Rocky Hall, Pat Fires, Will Kill, Spangler, Larceny Roars, Your Boy Blue, Sparky B, S.E. Phillip, Olin Groupie, Zach Hartley, Reactive, Sean in the Ice, The Works 472, Care Bear Garrett, Mace the Ace, Luke Cook, Connor Sipon, Joshua Day, Demon of Roscrees, Peter Stewart, Corner Wild, Uncle Butts, Duke Luke, Quadja A. Hamid, Scott Hawk, Baby G-Buzz.
Go to pick up any of our merch, and you do that at playtowinmtg.com.
Thanks Dragon Shield for supporting the show. Use code PLAYTOWIN5 at the affiliate link down below for 5% off.
You can follow us on the internet for more content.
Thanks for watching.
See you next time.
Migs, FTW, Lumi E, Devin Morrow, Willow2998, Turtle99, Rick Sharticus, Max McComber, Meta Ben Finelli, Sarcastic, Mystic Muffin Man, Zachary Coulson, Dalton Poteet, Jan Wild, Frank Thomas Bueno, David Nelson.